let it ride real quick. Look. City eyes, it's time to Bogart. My God, a real nigga, cause he wasn't no flaw. Posted on the corner like a watchdog. Family secure, got that shot in the closet by the mob ball. Fuck what they heard, tell them it's all true. Be cautious, that foundation voltage and fall through. Look, I keep this shit 50 times 2. Ain't no more heart in this game, I'm John Q. Colder than the avalanche, way above average. A fiend's taste sweet, told him make me an apple crisp. Left us in the valley full of bones, this where hope found. Java, come on, man, dark sands get broke down. Riding through Evanston with Mark Quad, telling me how the crackers turned his childhood to a ghost town. Poker stop, nigga, I lay that game down. I feel his pain, cause nothing is the same now. Let my light shine like heaven through a rain cloud. Glock have a fit like my child, no bench. Try to warn them niggas, we bear arms like tarantulas. Them other niggas rap, I make anthems. I really seen profits under this banner. Made my enemies bow down on camera. Told my design I wanted black and white like a panda. I'm better than that nigga that sunk dirty Diana. Look, I move like a Brazilian, precious cargo. Spirit Asian, but I got a new semi-auto. Wave that bitch around like where's Waldo. Sleep if they won't, I cut through they Z's like I'm Zorro. Pay me for his name, so I gotta keep that steel clutch. Trust me, I'm not what you think. I squeeze till it click like Dorothy when the heels touch. The world got me dumb, I don't feel much. Ride around with Yaradon, just left the state bridge. Looking for a bitch better than Baby's kid. Remember I dropped Quiet Storm, I've been gone never since. Still in the field, fuck them niggas on the fence, yeah.
Yep. Shalom, Lord in Christ, Israel. We are the ISUPK, started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. We are affiliated with all the Israelite group, and we teach that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. That is God's chosen people. Okay, so this is Monday Night Law class. We'll go through what we've got going on in the school every week. And remember, the 3 live classes we've got in the school start from 7 till 9, streamed live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So Monday night we've got the law class. Tuesday night we've got the brotherhood class. Wednesday night we've got the history class. Thursday night is the scripture breakdown class. Friday night the Lashawan Kodash class. The live classes in the school are the Monday night law class, Wednesday night history class, and the Thursday night scripture breakdown class. After the Lashawan Kodash class on a Friday evening at 9 o'clock, we've got our live radio show with Officer Dungabar and Officer Karathia hosting from 9 till 11. Any questions in the class, raise your hand. Any questions in online, punch your questions into the StreamYard. We'll get straight at you ASAP. Okay, so Saturday, just not to leave out the rest of the week's works within the school. So Saturday morning we hold a Sabbath Sabbath service in the school. Oh, Salakia, we've got a Sabbath service in the school on Saturday from 10 to 11, and that's in the school. And then from 12 till 5, we hit the concrete and keep street camp. 1 week in Birmingham City Centre, and the next Saturday is in London Central. Okay, they're alternative weeks. So 2 weeks we're in Birmingham Central, outside the bull ring, bottom of the ramp. And the next week and 2 weeks of the month will be in London Central. I believe it's Piccadilly. That's from 12 till 5. This week we're at LE2, Maidstone Road, the Caribbean Centre, or to the local natives in Leicester, the Highfields Workshop. ISUPK under Commanding General Johanna will be keeping class down there in Leicester, and that's at Maidstone Road, LE2. I'll give you the full postcode by the end of the class. Okay, so that's what we've got going on in the school. A lot going on in the school at the moment. Okay, plenty to keep our people, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, busy pondering and trying to get yourself out of this wicked world and in the truth. We're here at 394 Lodge Road, and you Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you're welcome anytime. We have feast days coming up. We've got the feast of the memorial of blowing trumpets coming up in October. We'll mention the exact date of that at the end of the class when we go through the security announcements. So, okay, so tonight is the law class, the Monday night law class. And the topic for tonight is perfection is achievable through the laws of the Most High God. Okay? Just read out the topic tonight for me loud and clear, Officer Moser, Baba Kasha, again, just to confirm it.
The topic is perfection is
Achievable
through the law of the Most High.
Okay, so there you go. Perfection is achievable through the law of the Most High. And the laws can be found in the first 5 books, the records of Moses, a loyal servant to the Most High God. He recorded the first 5 books in the Bible. And so it's a classic debate between us and the Christians. This is that the Christians believe that the law's done away with. Perfection is impossible to achieve. You cannot achieve perfection in this life. Nobody has ever been perfect in this life. And we know that's a contradiction that comes out of the Christian church. We know it's a damn lie. It's a straight up and down, barefaced lie. There's kind of uncancer, the water. There's so many loyal servants of the Most High God that have been perfect and named as perfect in the Bible. Christ himself was mentioned as being perfect in the Bible. Job, Noah, King David. These are all leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel at some era, some point in past times, in our records, the Holy Bible, the King James Version, and all these men are mentioned in the Bible as being perfect. So how your Christian pastor has the barefaced nerve to teach our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that perfection is not achievable in this life, what we call this wicked kingdom, because it is. And how do we reach perfection in this wicked kingdom? Does anybody in class know how we can achieve perfection in this life? How do you think we keep perfection? By what?
Keeping the laws.
Yeah, that's right. By keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. Okay, and when you break down these laws, they're quite simple and quite easy to follow. The Most High gave us these laws in the simplicity. We were just a rebellious people, and we could not get it together, Israel. We could not get it together and do as we were told. And that's the bottom line. So these laws are quite simple. They break down into 4 sections. The laws of the Most High God in the records of Moses, a loyal servant to the Most High God. He was our leader, and he led us out of the Egyptian captivity. And the 4 sections of the law were civil, ceremonial, moral, and dietary. Okay, so let's have a look at civil first. Okay, so according to Google, we're going to have a look at the definition of these sections of the law, and then we'll have a look at the Google definition, and then we'll have a look at the Compact Bible Dictionary, the Bible definition of the sections of these of the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. Okay, so first, civil. Civil is courteous and polite. Okay, so what? Being civil, according to Google, being courteous and polite. Okay, what would that entail? Not slandering your brother, not slandering your sister, telling lies on them, bearing false witness, false accusations, being polite and courteous at all times, saluting the men above you, saluting your brothers, your sisters, the men beneath you, knowing how to address somebody without being offensive or insulting them. Okay, these are civil laws, and we'll have a look at them tonight in the law class. Tonight in Monday night's law class. Okay, so that's civil law. Then we have ceremonial laws. Okay, these are to be used for formal events. And can anybody in class tell me what a formal event would be amongst the 12 tribes of Israel, amongst our people? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, according to our records. What would be ceremonial law? What would be a formal event? Sacrifices, offerings. These would be all events. And we're going to have a look. We have to have a look at a ceremonial law, because ceremonial law is a perfect example of how it's a great example of how perfect this law is, and we'll have a look at that. While you're looking for the definition of civil law, just find me, Officer Mozart, the book of Leviticus 22 and 21, Baba Kashak, and hold it, but keep looking for the definitions from it. Then we have moral law. Moral law concerning with the principles of right and wrong. Do we all understand this? Moral law. Moral law is knowing the difference between right and wrong, knowing the difference between righteousness and wickedness, acts of righteousness and acts of wickedness. Like telling people, we tell people every day we love them, but according to the Bible, love is not a term, it's not terminology, it's an act. And the moral law, it encourages us to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments in the absolute 100, because love, real love, if you love the Most High God, you will fear Him and you will keep the law, statutes, and commandments. And that's what the moral law teaches us, to separate righteousness from wickedness. Okay, and then the fourth section of the law would be dietary. Okay, dietary. And the definition of dietary is restrictions of certain foods that are deemed unclean. And who deemed them unclean? The Most High God. So I'm not suggesting for 1 minute the Most High God sits down and eats steak and chips or rice and peas and jerk chicken. Although if he did have a meal, what would be on his plate? It would be that you'd find nothing on his plate that he gave Moses to give us, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, as unclean meats. Okay, and what we're looking at: pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, hare, rat, mice, all these, and certain foods in the sea, even. Okay, anything that doesn't have fins or scales in the waters is filthy to the Most High God. And these are all part of the dietary law, things that we cannot eat, Israel, that are deemed unclean to the Most High God. And if they're unclean to the Most High God, guess what? They're unclean to you and me.
That's right.
So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We cannot eat them. And this is how we get it together, by keeping these sections of the law, understanding them, breaking them down, and applying them to our lives. This is what we do, Israel. Okay, so the class tonight, perfection can be achieved through the laws. The law comes in 4 sections or 4 categories. Have you got the biblical definitions of them, Officer Mozart? Have you found civil?
Searching for it, but it's not really forward.
Okay, pass me the book. Pass me that book 1 second. And in the meantime, if we can't find it, we'll look at it later, in a while. Okay, so you're in S. Civil begins with C. Get me Leviticus 22 and 21, Baba Kasha.
Leviticus 22, 21.
Okay, we might need the compact dictionary if I'm honest with you. Oh no. Okay, let's. Okay, I can't. It's not in here. Okay, is there a compact dictionary in here?
I know. Maybe not.
Okay, well, it's not in the Zondervan's. So we've got a Google definition. And we'll try and find a compact dictionary before the class is done at 9 o'clock. If you've got any questions, type them into the StreamYard. Okay, so the 4 sections of the law, or the 4 categories of the law: civil, ceremonial, moral, and dietary. And we're going to show you now the perfect example of perfection, and that we're going to find it in Leviticus 22 and 21. Read that for me, Baba Kasha.
The book of Leviticus 22, verse 21. And whosoever offered a sacrifice of peace offering unto the Lord to accomplish his vows.
So anybody that offers a peace offering to the Lord, okay, you're trying to make peace with the Lord, okay, to accomplish your vow. What is your vow? It's the oath, the sworn oath, the agreement you've made with the Most High God through that glorious covenant that he gave us through Moses, his loyal servant. That's how you achieve your vow. That's how you accomplish your vow and fulfill it, by keeping your oath. Okay, your boss at work, when you sign your contract on your first day and start work, you have a handshake. That handshake is the seal. It's the seal of the deal. It means you're going to keep your word and honor the contract your boss at work has given you. Well, guess what? The Most High God is the biggest boss this kingdom has. There's nobody bigger than the Most High God. And guess what, Israel? You alone have an agreement with him. You alone have a contract with him, and you alone have a covenant with him. And that covenant is your vow or your oath. And this is how you accomplish your vow, by keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, which we're going to see are perfect. Read on, Baba Kasha.
Okay. Are a free will offering in beeves,
or a free will offering in beeves,
or sheep,
your livestock. Read.
It shall be perfect.
It shall be what?
Perfect.
It shall be what?
Perfect.
Read on.
To be accepted.
Okay, so whatever you're offering to the Lord, thy God, your God, the Most High God, must be perfect. How must it be? This is how perfect the law is. What you're offering even must be perfect. You see that?
That's right. That's
how perfect this law is. Because guess what? The Most High God is perfect. And guess what else? He wants us to be perfect. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And that is only achievable by keeping our oaths, our vow, these laws, statutes, and commandments. Read on, Baba Kasha.
There shall be no blemish therein.
There shall what?
Be no blemish therein.
And that's what makes your offering perfect. The sheep, the lamb, the oxen that you bring before the Most High God better have no blemish. It must be the best sheep in your field. It better be the best lamb in your field. It must be perfect before the Most High God, or do not offer it. And that is definitive proof that this law is perfect. The Most High God wouldn't even accept a sheep with a scar on its head, on its nose, on its face, on its back. This sheep offering must be without blemish, and that's perfection. Do we all get this? Do we all understand this? How this law is perfect, how the Most High God made this law perfect and gave it to his loyal servant Moses in perfection, in all perfection. Do we understand this? Is there any questions in class?
No, perfect.
Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy 32 and 7, Baba Kashar. The book of we'll start off with Deuteronomy 32 and 7. I'll read that when you've got that, Baba Kashar.
The book of Deuteronomy 32 verse 7. Remember the days of old.
Remember the days of old, yesterday, the ancient days, 500 years ago. Let's start remembering the days of old, and then we'll start to understand these laws, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
Consider the days of many generations.
Many generations, read.
Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why have we forgotten the days of old?
We turn away from
Because we
turn away from the law.
We've turned away from the law. We've turned away from our traditions. We've turned away from our culture. Did we have a rough time? Yes.
Oh, yes.
Did we go through 400 years of oppression and captivity? And did we have our names stripped from us, our land, our knowledge of ourselves, our language? Everything about us was taken away from us. Yes, but we was disobedient, and the Most High God allowed this to happen. And we're going to have a look later in class tonight how that happened to us, what we did, what we need to do to get it back, and what these other nations did by overstepping the mark. By overstepping the mark. But we loved their vain traditions. We loved their profanity and embraced it. Even though we went through our trials and tribulations over the generations. And we don't, look, we don't remember the times of old. We don't remember racism. Well, few of us do. We don't remember the Windrush. Or we want to put it behind us because the oppressor advises us to. We're so caught up with pleasing the oppressor instead of doing what we need to do and please the Most High God. The oppressor can't save us from this captivity that we're in now. The oppressor can't save us from this wicked ass kingdom. The Most High God alone is going to do that. Read that again, Baba Kashar, from the top.
Okay. The book of Deuteronomy 32 verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
Okay, so there we go. We've forgotten racism. We've forgotten the Windrush. We've forgotten slavery. We forgot all these wicked acts against us, not just by the oppressor, by many nations in times of old. But we're quick to jump on Remembrance Day. Huh? Are we not?
That's right.
We're quick to jump on the fake Holocaust and feel pity for the fake Jews that have stolen our inheritance. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians try to steal our inheritance. They'll never have it, but they've stolen our identity. They're teaching the world that they are us. Okay, and In the meantime, we're left in all the impoverished areas around the world, in all the ghettos, believing in their nonsense, their fake feast days, Christmas, Easter, in their fake history, in their history that they've imprinted in us, while we've forgot racism, forgotten slavery, forgotten the real Holocaust, and now we pity them instead of getting ourselves together, getting our acts together. We're feeling pity for the fake Holocaust, Remembrance Day from World War II. How many of us wear red poppies and put suits on Remembrance Day? This is nothing to do with us. We already we already fought in their war for them. Nothing to do with us. We fought in their war for them and helped them win their war, when we'd have been much better off staying the hell out of it. Nothing to do with us, Israel. Not our fight, but we're fighting for the same people that helped to destroy us, that actually overstepped their mark and went too far.
That's right.
Okay, and that's a biblical fact. That's a biblical. Give me Ezekiel 35:5, Baba Kashar. Okay, so we've got to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, because they're perfect, and this perfection is achievable for our people, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. But what's not achievable is following these vain traditions of the oppressor and all his profanity that comes along with that. You got something for us, Mozart?
Repeat it. Leviticus.
Huh?
Leviticus 20.
No, Ezekiel. Ezekiel 35:5, Baba Kashar. I tell you what, let's jump up and start from verse 4, Baba Kashar.
You need to tell me the number. Ezekiel.
What?
What number in Ezekiel?
I just told you, Ezekiel 35 and verse 4.
35 verse 4.
Yeah, read that when you're ready, Bob.
The book of Ezekiel 35 verse 4. I will lay thy cities waste. Okay,
so now this is touching on what we just spoke about. Okay, this is talking about Esau, the dwellers of Mount Seir, spelled S-I-E-R in the Bible. Okay, so this is where the Edomites, who are the seed and the generations of Esau, this is where they dwelt. This is the place of their habitat. Okay, Mount Seir. And these are the people that put us in a 400-year captivity. Okay, they took us from the west coast of Africa through the transatlantic slave trade. These are the people that put us through the Windrush. These are the people that have put us through 500 years of tyranny and the worst type of racism that man's ever seen or bore witness to. Okay, and the Most High God was and still is pissed at them. And they're going to see his wrath like no other nation. All these nations are going to get judged. They've all got a judgment coming, but none of their judgment's going to be like Esau's. Esau's is on a different level. Read that again, Baba Kashar, from the top. Ya laugh, Moza.
Ezekiel 35 verse 4. I will lay thy cities waste.
So he's going to lay their cities to waste. Whose cities? Read on.
And thou shalt be desolate.
Ooh, fire. Fire for them. Gonna lay their cities are gonna be wasted, and he shall desolate them. Read on.
And thou shalt know that I am the Lord.
And in that day when he desolates them and destroys their cities and this wicked kingdom that they rule, they're gonna what? They're gonna know who the real Most High God is. And he wasn't Jehovah. He wasn't Thor. He wasn't Zeus. He wasn't Jah. He wasn't Allah. He was Yahweh, the one and only true God, the God of Israel. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
The book of Ezekiel 35 verse 4. I will lay thy city waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord.
So have you never wondered why God is going to destroy these heathen nations and desolate Esau? If you understand slavery, you'll know why he's going to do this. Imagine a child is kicked out of class and sent to the detention room or the headmaster or the headmistress office to stand outside and wait for a punishment, a caning. In my day in secondary school, we were still getting caned, Mozart. You know that? You know what a cane is? A piece of stick. And you hold your hand out and you get lashes until the skin in the palm of your hand is tore off and your hand's bleeding. Can you imagine these soft ass kids getting caned today? My granddaughter, listen, the kids in my family tell me they're not even allowed to be shouted at school. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? They can't even be shouted at school. Okay, so check this. Yeah, your kid's been kicked out of class. He's standing outside the headmistress' office or the headmaster's office, waiting to be caned. Yeah, and that's your punishment. That's your judgment for whatever you did in class, your misconduct, your behavior. Okay, so while you're standing outside the headmaster's office, all the other kids are coming along. Okay, and what do you think they're doing?
Mocking you,
mocking at you, throwing eggs, tomatoes, spitting at you, and in extreme cases they're punishing and kicking this poor kid who's about to get caned and probably suspended, expelled, detention, all kinds of judgments coming down on his head, all kind of wrath he or she is about to face from their teacher, who's fuming, who's vexed. Okay, this is what the Most High God did with us. He was angry at us. He was annoyed. He kicked us out of our land and scattered us to the four corners of the world. He destroyed us. He took away our inheritance, our names, our language, our culture, our traditions, and he made us food for the heathen. But guess what? He did not ordain the heathen and the oppressor to go as far as they went. And that's why he's pissed at them. And this, right here in Ezekiel 35:5, he's telling you exactly, 35:4 through to 5, he's telling you exactly what he's going to do with these, with Esau, with the oppressor. You got something for us, Mozart?
If you're going to the book of Obadiah 1 verse 12.
Yeah, hold on. Read that again for me. We'll go to Obadiah after. Let's finish up with Ezekiel.
The book of Ezekiel 35 verse 4. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord.
Read on.
Verse 5. Because thou art had a perpetual hatred.
Okay, so he's saying through his loyal servant Ezekiel that the oppressor had a perpetual hatred. A hatred for who? For us, the 12 tribes of Israel, who so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Read on.
And hath shed the blood of children. And hath shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity.
Okay, so because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. We never asked. We knew we upset God. We got kicked out of our land. We lost our inheritance. We lost our name. We lost our culture. We lost our language. We was placed in a foreign part of this world that we was not familiar with. We didn't want to be in, but we never asked, or part of our punishment was never for our children to be alligator bait, so the oppressor could catch these alligators and make make crocodile skin shoes, leather shoes, and leather handbags for their women. We never asked to be thrown over slave merchant ships, thrown overboard for shark food, when we had diseases that they didn't have time to nurse or address. They'd rather just throw us overboard and turn us into shark food. We never asked to be hung from crosses or trees. We never asked to have our feet chopped off so at the ankles so we couldn't run away from the slave plantations. We never asked for none of these atrocities. We never asked to be locked in the barn and have 2 Rottweilers, 2 Dobermans, 2 German Shepherds, 4 in some cases dogs thrown in the barn and set on us and tear us from limb to limb until we were dead. We never asked for none of these atrocities. And guess what? Neither did the Most High God. He never asked, or he never ordered the heathen to do this. He never ordered the oppressor to do this. They just did it off of their own wicked back. And that's why they are the devil the Bible talks of. Okay? Jump to your Obadiah precept. We'll come back to this, Baba Kashar, Officer Mozart. You're itching to get this out, right?
The book of Obadiah 1 verse 12. But thou shouldest not have looked upon the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldest thou have rejoiced. So you see,
Great.
He was really
good precept. Break that down for us, Officer Mozart, Baba Kashar.
So that day they were so happy and elated that finally.
Salakia, 1 minute. There's someone at the door. Yeah, Officer Mozart, just give him a pat down. Shalom, brother. You good? You good up? So just let the officer give you one little pat down and we're fine. Just take a seat on my right hand side, on your left hand side. Is the door locked? Okay, what was that? Obadiah 1 and what? Obadiah 1, Salakia, Obadiah 1.
Obadiah 1 verse 12.
Just check that door's locked for me. Lock, yeah. Read that again for me, Baba Kashar.
The book of Obadiah 1 verse 12. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Israel in the day of their destruction, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress.
There you go, in the day of our distress. And that's what the oppressor did. He took advantage and he took the piss. That's what the oppressor did. You break that down, Moses.
Just like as the priest was saying, and prophet was saying, a child that is being scolded at school, I've just felt like the principal doorway waiting for Canaan. So basically, the oppressor was really rejoicing when he get that opportunity to make a mockery of us.
Damn right.
Well, they go more than spitting out. They use us as a punching bag in the barn.
Right.
And they all different kind of experiment, and he was loving it. They like pain.
That's right.
They have this sadistic mentality to see you hurt, and they rejoice. Just like when they see and say, "Did you have a good morning?" They're mocking you because they know the hurt that they caused during the night and the pain that you've been going through. So when they wake, "Oh, did you have a good morning?" They're just taking them
and they glorifying that,
and they're reveling it. Even to this day, they look at you as, oh, they can just go, "What did you do to a while ago?" Because I can. That's how proud and confident they are. Right. Even in this day, when it is wrong for you to go up to someone and touch them without their consent, and you say, "Why did you put on it?" Because I can. You hear the proudness of the behavior?
That's right.
So basically, in our day of distress, oh, they were loving it.
Yes, definitely.
They didn't wait for a moment.
Give up Moses a hand for that. They certainly did. They certainly reveled in our plight. Jump back to Ezekiel, Baba Kashar. 35, and let's start from verse 5 again. We've gone through 4 and 5. Let's go read verse 5 again for me, Bible to show.
The book of Ezekiel 35 verse 5. Because thou art had an perpetual hatred, and art shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity.
In the time of our calamity, when we was at our weakest. So when we was at our weakest, in Yeah, just check. Just go on your phone, Mozart, and just check we're back up and running. Okay, toward the other one. Shalom, Lord of Christ, other one. Okay, Salakia for that. We had a slight technical for the last 10 minutes. We're back on now. Okay, the class is perfection is achievable through the law of the Most High God. We're back up. We're back up on there.
I'm checking. Can't see it. Oh yeah, that's a one.
Yeah, we're back on. We're back on YouTube. Testing. Mic check. Yeah. Okay, so back to Ezekiel. Salakia for that. Everybody in the stream, everybody online. Salakia for that. We had a slight technical in the classroom. The Wi-Fi went down for 10 minutes. We're going to pick it up where we left it. Ezekiel 35:5. Let's move on with this now.
The book of Ezekiel 35 verse 5. Because thou art a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the day of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Verse 6.
No, so this, let me break that down. So this is how the heathen nations treated us in our plight. They waited until we was at our weakest and most vulnerable, and then they took the piss. And this is why the Most High God's going to serve them up. This is why they're getting dealt with and served up by the Most High God. We don't have to do nothing. We are going to have to do nothing. We're going to have to stand by and watch this happen. And in that last hour, the ones of us that are righteous are the ones of us that have kept these laws, statutes, and commandments, which make us perfect. The ones of us that are perfect are going to be beamed up into the UFOs, and we're going to come back. We're going to come back, and we're going to help the angels, and we're going to be unleashed on these wicked heathen nations. And we're going to round them up. A lot of them are not going to make it. Okay, but this is how it's going to go. And if you're up in that Christian church, you don't want to hear this, but this is what the Bible says. This is what our records say. This is what the loyal servants of the Most High God have recorded. Okay, so what you're learning up in that Christian church is a damn lie, and it's not in our records. Okay, Jesus is not coming back to hold hands, bang a tambourine, and sing hallelujah and save everybody. It's not in the Bible. Give me Psalms 19:7, Baba Kashar. Okay, move Psalms 19:7. Okay, because this law is perfect, and you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, if you want to be perfect and achieve perfection, you'll keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. And guess what? The Spirit of the Most High God is with us. It's with our nation. We've got to put it into effect. And we put it into effect by studying these laws, statutes, and commandments, and applying them to our life. And once you do that, the Spirit will never leave you. The Spirit will never, you'll see your life change dramatically and drastically. And you're protected. All the things and the mishaps that go on in your life, it will stop. They will stop. Your life will change so dramatically. All your parking tickets. You might think these are trivial things. They've got nothing to do with God. Everything is to do with the Most High God. Everything negative in your life is a judgment. Just remember that. Okay, every parking ticket, every council tax, every fine, every prison sentence, every loss of a job, every breakup of a marriage, every child that says they hate their father, can't stand their mother, that is a judgment from the Most High God. It's not a coincidence, and it doesn't just happen. Nothing just happens in this life. Bear that in mind. We've got these records for a reason. Bear that in mind. Okay, where are we at? Psalms 19, and let's start actually from verse Yeah, let's have verse 7, Baba Kasha.
The book of Psalms 19 verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect.
The law of the Lord is perfect. Read that again, Baba Kasha.
The law of the Lord is perfect.
Okay, so if the law of the Lord is perfect, then why shouldn't we keep it if it's perfection? Why would we stray and go anywhere else? Why would we want to be in that Islamic mosque? Why would we want to be in the Christian church? Why the hell would we want to be in the synagogues where Satan dwells? Because I'll tell you, God doesn't dwell in these brick buildings. Get me Acts 7:48. Just quickly. Let's just see. Why do we want to be in these brick buildings if the Most High God, if the Most High God in the Bible calls us the church, the priest and the prophets in the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana. We are the church when we keep street camp on a Saturday and we're teaching our people the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God and what they need to do to change their lives and get off drugs and stop stealing and evil eyeing each other, whoring out our sisters, selling our one another drugs, okay, breaking the dietary laws, breaking the civil laws, breaking the ceremonial laws, breaking the moral laws, not being righteous, being wrong in everything they do, every walk of life. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, then why would we go anywhere else? Why would we go to the church? Why would we go to the mosque? Why would we go to the synagogues? Why would we listen to our Rastafarian elders that talk gibberish, talk absolute nonsense, and they're not teaching us our records, our culture, our history, our traditions, and our perfect law? Okay, did you get Acts 7:48? Just read that quickly, Baba Kasha.
The book of Acts 7 verse 48. Albeit the Most High dwell not in temple.
Read that again. Albeit
the Most High dwell not in temple made with hands.
So the Most High God says he doesn't dwell in temples made with hands. What are these temples? These Christian churches, these Islamic mosques, these Zionist synagogues that they've built all around the world. We never had synagogues in the time of Moses, in the time of Christ, in the time of Ezekiel, Isaiah, Daniel, Jonah, Obadiah, Salakia. We never had Jewish temples. These buildings are the synagogue of Satan. These buildings is where the son of perdition dwells. Satan himself. This is not where God dwells. Read that again, Baba Kasha.
The book of Acts 7 verse 48. Albeit the Most High dwell not in temple made with hands.
So he doesn't dwell in these brick buildings where we are taught from childhood is if you want to worship the Most High God, you're best to come to church.
You have to come to church.
Yeah, if you want the Most High God to hear your prayer, hear your worship, you must do it in church. That contradicts what the Apostle Paul's recorded here in Acts 7:48. It completely contradicts the word of God and it contradicts our records. So when are we going to stop listening to these pastors? Why would we want to look for God in these churches when we've got his church right in front of us, his law? We are the church. We'll teach this law and pass it on to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and you'll know the truth. And you'll know that your Christian pastor is a goddamn liar. And you will know that the oppressor is the devil the Bible talks of. How about that? How about that? Jump back to Psalms 19 and 7, Baba Kasha.
The book of Psalms 19 verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect.
The law of the Lord is what?
Perfect.
There you go. The law of the Lord is perfect. And how do we achieve perfection? If the law is perfect, if the law of the Most High God is perfect, how can How can we, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, achieve perfection?
By keeping the law.
By keeping it. It's as simple as that, and that's the bottom line. It's right here. Like I said, time and time again, we have these records for a reason. They're not just printed for idleness. You know, let's leave the idleness to the idolaters in the Christian church, in the Islamic mosque. Okay, let's leave the idleness for there and for them. We don't need that nonsense. We don't need that deception and them lies. We've got the truth right here, the home of the truth, the One West doctrine. Right here at 394 Lodge Road, in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. This is all you need. This is all you need to save yourself, to save your wives, to save your parents, to save your children, auntie, uncle, grandma, grandfather. There's nothing else to this, and there's nothing else we need. Absolutely nothing. Okay? We have perfection in the law, and it's achievable. But we first got to displace ourselves from these brick buildings that we've applied to our lives. And yes, we was forced to go to Sunday school in slavery. We was forced in these brick buildings. Back then, it would have been a wooden hut. You know, in the 17th, 18th century, it was a wooden hut, and it was called Sunday school. And we had to go there or take a whipping in front of the rest of the slaves on the plantation, tied to a tree and whipped. But this is another reason why they're going to get dealt with the way they're going to get dealt with.
That's right.
Okay, it's as simple as that. Give me Ecclesiasticus, Baba Kushar. Give me Ecclesiasticus 21, the 21st chapter in Ecclesiasticus, and we'll start at verse.
Ecclesiasticus.
Yeah, chapter 21, Baba Kushar.
21.
And we'll start at verse 11, Baba Kushar, the Apocrypha.
The book of Ecclesiasticus.
Have you got a Bible? Yeah, you good? Yeah. Yeah, the Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, it's one of these. That's Ecclesiastes. Yeah, that's Ecclesiastes. Well, you can get an Apocrypha or just listen. If you've got any questions, just raise your hand. We'll answer you. Answer your questions.
The book of Ecclesiasticus 21 verse 11.
Read.
He that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding.
So we follow this, right? If you keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, you will have a different understanding to this world, this wicked kingdom. Our understanding is that if we go to the church, we'll be close. If you're not keeping these laws, the chances are, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you're either in the Christian church or the mosque or one of these false fake denominations, okay, Rastafarianism, thinking Selassie is the Messiah and he's coming back to save us with the new Ethiopia. It's nonsense and it's not in our records, okay? So read that again, Bob Kushar.
Verse 11, he that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding thereof.
Okay, so the perfection of the law is wisdom, and we're going to find out. Okay, read on.
And the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom.
Read that again.
And the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom.
So he that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth understanding. So first and foremost, we've got to get out of that Christian church and start keeping these laws to get the understanding, because while we're in the church, we taught that the law is done away with. We don't need to keep this law. And that's not in our records. Read that second part again, Baba Kashar. And the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom. There you go. It's a done deal. The perfection of the law is wisdom. So once you keep the law, you've got perfection. And with that perfection comes great wisdom. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty black and white. You see that, Mozart? It's not difficult. But the understanding of our records becomes so complicated in the church. You see that? You see how complicated the understanding of these records are when you're trying to learn them from the pastor in the church. It becomes so mind-boggling. You don't know where to start or where to end. You just don't know where to start and where to end. And we've been taught this since we was dragged on slave ships. And this is why we've got no idea who we are. This is why we've got no idea who we are. Get me Hebrews. Hebrews 7, chapter 7. Hebrews 7 and 19, Baba Kashar. I'm going to fly through these precepts now. We went offline for 10 minutes. We've wasted a bit of time. But we don't need to play catch up because this is how the Most High God works. We went offline for 10 minutes for a reason. Okay?
The book of Hebrews 7, verse 19.
Salakia. Give me 1 second, Baba Kashar. Let me catch up with you. Hebrews 7 and 19, Baba Kashar. Read that.
The book of Hebrews 7, verse 19. For the law make nothing perfect.
So the law made nothing perfect. Read that again.
Verse 19. For the law made nothing perfect.
So the law is perfect, okay? But we were rebellious. The law was perfect, but it made nothing perfect. Why? Because we was rebellious and couldn't keep it. Okay, but this is not how the Christian pastor breaks it down. We're going to look at how the Christian pastor breaks it down because the Christians love this precept here. They love this verse. Read that again from the top, Baba Kachon.
Hebrews 7 verse 19. For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of better hope did.
Okay, so the way the Christians break this down is, look, 7 and 19. Okay, for the law made nothing perfect. The Christian pastor jumps up and says, look, the law's useless. It's no good. The law, there's nothing perfect out of the law. When that's not what this is saying. That is not what this is saying, but that's what your Christian pastor is teaching you. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. He's teaching you, look, right here, look in Hebrews 7 and 19. The law made nothing perfect, but that's not what this is saying. This is saying the law made nothing. The law is perfect. We know that. We've read it time and time again throughout the Bible. But it made nothing perfect because we were rebellious. There's a reason it didn't make us perfect. It's not saying that it isn't perfect. It's we're not perfect.
That's right.
You understand? And the reason we're not perfect is because we were rebellious and turned our face from the Most High God. Okay? Okay, that's what this is saying. So you listen to your Christian pastor at your own peril. But the bringing in of a better hope did. What does that mean? Can anybody break that down? The bringing in of a better hope did make us perfect. Not the law, us. What would have made us, if we was under the law of Moses and we kept breaking this law and we were rebellious and we were stopping ourselves, blocking ourselves from being perfect like the law, what would have made us or given us a better hope to be perfect and keep this law? It's a good answer, but it's not the right one. Does anyone in class...
Christ came in and bringing the law.
Give that answer, clap. So Officer Mozart said that better hope that would have made us perfect or does make us perfect is the return or the life of Yahushai HaMashiach, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, who came and taught us this law was to be loved and not feared in the sense of we must fear the Most High God, because the beginning of fear of the Most High God is wisdom, but not to fear the law and worry about the penalties, the judgments. the sacrifices. Oh, I sinned today. I don't want to give my perfect lamb, my best lamb. I want to keep that one. You know, I've committed adultery. I don't want to get tied to that tree on the hill and face death and destruction, which you would have in the days of Moses. Moses kept the law to the letter. He kept the law in the absolute. If you committed adultery, you'd get tied to a tree and stoned to death.
That's right.
Yeah, nobody got away with breaking the law if the Levitical priesthood, if Aaron and Moses found out, you would face your punishment, no matter what that punishment was. And if it was death and destruction, you'd face it. And we hated the law because of this. But when Yahushua, when Jesus Christ came back, Christ taught us, don't fear the law. Love it, embrace it. It makes us better. It makes us love our one another. It stops us committing sin and iniquity. You know, this only makes us perfect in the eyes of the Most High God. Learn to love the law. And that was the second chance, our grace period. And this is the hope that Christ brought back. Read that again, Baba Kasha. This is the accurate breakdown. You're not going to hear this in the church. You're not going to get this breakdown in the church. Because I've heard, when I was younger, I heard the pastor's breakdown of this precept. And the pastor said, look, verse 19, the law, there's nothing perfect about the law. That's not what this says. This says, verse 19, for the law made nothing perfect. If something makes something else something, for example, I put a gun to your head and make you drive up a one-way street. I make you jump in the fire, jump in the river. I'm not talking about me, or I'm not talking about the law. This is not talking about the law. This is talking about what the law makes you do. The law didn't make us perfect because we were rebellious. And you won't get this breakdown in the Christian church. The Christian pastor does not understand this because he doesn't have the spirit of the Most High God. The Most High God is not walking with him. He's been lying to our people for the past 175 years since the abolishment of slavery in 1865. And this is why we're still in mental bondage to this day. Read that again, Baba Kasha.
Hebrews 7 verse 19. For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of better hope did, by the which we draw nigh unto God.
Okay, so the hope, okay, but the bringing in of a better hope, Jesus Christ, did. That hope did make us perfect because he was teaching us to love this law and love keeping it. So we could keep this law running towards it as opposed from hiding from it or turning away from it or being scared of it, fearing it. Do you understand? Fearing the judgment that came along with iniquity or sin, or in some cases making mistakes. Do we all understand this breakdown? Do we get this? You know, that better hope was Jesus Christ. And keeping this law is so perfection is achievable if we keep these law, statutes, and commandments. And that hope was better. It was better achieved under Hamashiach Yahushua. That's all this precept is saying. That better hope was Christ. It is Christ who brings us close to God. But we reject him for Caesar Borgia. We reject him for Selassie. We reject him for Muhammad. False prophets, false messengers, false messiahs, fake workers and fake servants of the Most High God.
That's right.
Caesar Borgia was a European man. Jesus Christ was a black man. He was a Negro with dark skin and woolly hair. So you see how lost and destroyed we've become in that Christian church. Our records are unbelievable. Our records, I can't stop illustrating this to our people, where we would be without these records. We have these records for a reason. And the first 5 books is where we find the law. Even though the law is written throughout all 80 books, the law is established in the first 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And we do damn well to study these laws and start applying them to our lives. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay. Gosh. Get me Deuteronomy 23 and 20, Baba Kashar. We sit up in that church wondering why we can't reach perfection. It's self-explanatory. This tells us why we can't reach perfection in that church, in that mosque, in them synagogues. Do we all understand this? Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 23. We'll start verse 20, Baba Kashar.
The book of Deuteronomy 23, verse 20.
No. Yeah, can't. Slakia, my bad. Yeah, verse 20, Baba Kashar.
Verse 20. Unto a stranger thou mayest not.
Okay, so it says, unto a stranger thou mayest lend upon usury. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
Unto a stranger thou mayest lend upon usury.
Does anybody know what usury is?
Yes, usury is when you lend somebody money.
To borrow, to lend.
Yes.
Yeah. This is we're going to illustrate right here, in Moses's records, Deuteronomy 23 and 20, how perfect our law given to us by the Most High God is. This is how perfect our law is. Does anybody know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, but the usury is the interest on it. So
usury is interest. Yes. Okay, and we're going to read this, but according to our law, well, I'll give you the breakdown after we've read the precept. But this is a perfect example of how perfect our law is, because the oppressor stole this ideology out of the Bible and turned it and flipped it and used it back on us. This was a law. Usuries and lending and borrowing money was a law that was given to us, okay, by the Most High, from the Most High God through Moses, to teach us to love, to embrace brotherhood, not to lend money to my brother, to my sister, and apply usury, which is interest. Okay, but we could lend money to strangers or to the heathen nations and put usury on top of that, the amount. For example, I could have borrowed a Persian 3 goats, and he would have had to pay me back within a month 3 goats and 2 lambs. Do we all understand this? Right. That's what usury is. Okay, I might have lent a Moabite 3,000 years ago. I might have lent a Moabite 30 shekels of gold or 50 shekels of silver. He would have had to pay me back 60 shekels of gold or 100 shekels of silver. Do we all follow this? Okay, read that again, Baba Kashar, from the top.
Deuteronomy 23, verse 20. Unto a stranger thou mayest.
No, from the top.
That's 20. That's 20. I'm reading from 20. Deuteronomy 23, verse 20. Unto a stranger thou mayest lend upon usury, but unto thy brother thou shouldest not lend upon usury. Okay, so there you go. To a stranger, to one of the heathen nations, you can apply usury, okay, or interest. But to your brother, to your sister, you will not lend upon usury. You will not add any interest. What do the banks do? The modern day banks. Who runs the modern day banks? The Jews, yeah, the Zionists. What nation of people do the fake Jews come from? The Zionists. Esau, the oppressor. Okay, what do they do when they lend you, when you take a mortgage out with them? How much interest? What do they do if you get a 25 grand loan from the bank?
Do you just one day give do you pay £100 a month or £200 a month until that 25 grand's paid back?
You pay back the standard agreement, but the interest rate keep fluctuating.
There's usury on top. So you see how the oppressor has flipped this law, our law, on us.
That's right.
And used it in an oppressive way. Now, the Zionists or the oppressor will say, hold on a minute, once upon a time you oppressed us with this law. But what the hell are you talking about? This law was given to us, it wasn't given to you. So how the hell are we oppressing you when it's our law? We're not asking you to come and borrow money off of us. This is so we would embrace brotherhood. This is a law to teach us further and deeper brotherhood and sisterhood. So we didn't charge interest on each other. If you come into our law, into our nation, that's entirely up to you. We never came into your nation or into your law. We was forced into it. You dragged us here on slave ships. You see the difference?
That's right.
This is oppressive what they do to us. They lend us money and take damn near double back. After we built their land and built their cities up and made their country what it is today, how dare they apply interest on anything they give to us? Everything they give to us from 1865 should have been free. It should have all been a freebie. And some. And some on do you see you see that?
Yeah.
It's not even a joke. They flipped this and turned it on us because they're the devil the Bible talks of. Oh gosh, yeah. And that shows you the law is perfect. Our law is perfect because these devils want to borrow and lend, not our money, our law. They don't even want to borrow and lend it. They've stolen it and used it against us. It's not their thing, it's our thing. That they don't care about each other, they're one another. They charge the same interest as they charge us on each other. In some cases, not as extreme. Yeah, but saying that, they don't have brotherhood amongst them. We do, and that's what this law is about. So we would embrace brotherhood on a deeper level. We wouldn't charge interest on each other. We loved each other so much and had each other's back so much. I would just take the same two goat off you a month later that I borrowed you. Because you needed meat, you needed milk, you needed to make a sacrifice, a peace offering, and you was empty, your pot was empty. Do you understand? This is brotherhood. You see that? And this is a law for our people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And they stole it and used it against us. That's how perfect this law is. Okay, so let's jump. Let's go to Matthew. Let's jump out of this. Okay, let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 5. Chapter 5, verse... Let's start at verse... Yeah, okay, let's go to verse 48. There's only one verse here to read. Okay, so listen. Perfection is achievable. Understand this. And this is red writing. This is straight out of our King's mouth, Christ's mouth. Okay. And this is what we should be applying to our lives. This is what we should be striving for and doing. Anything Christ told us to do, we should be doing it today. We should have been doing it 2,000 years ago, and we should still be doing it today. Read that, Barbara Show.
The book of Matthew 5, verse 48. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father, which is in heaven, perfect.
Read that again. Just put the is in. You missed the is out at the end.
Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father, which is in heaven, is perfect.
So there you go. The law's perfect. The Most High God, where the law came from, is perfect. And Christ here is telling us, this is red writing. This is Christ being quoted. Christ is telling us, be ye therefore perfect. But hold on, the Christian pastor says that there's no such thing as perfection in this kingdom, in this life. So, but that contradicts what Christ is saying here. You know that the church is destroyed. It's okay. It's time to wake up, Israel. We can't keep using lineage as an example. Oh, my father was a minister, and my grandparents were Baptist and Pentecostal. They were deep Christians. I can't go against the grain. I can't be disloyal to my family. Do you think Christ is going to want to hear that when he comes back?
No.
Do you think the Most High God wants to hear that now? This goes against everything what your Christian pastor teaches you. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
The book of Matthew 5 verse 48.
Salakia, just before you read it. This goes against everything your Christian pastor teaches you. He tells you you cannot be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection in this life. Let's see what Christ says again.
48. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect.
And this is straight out of Christ's mouth, straight off of the Hamashiach's tongue. Be like our Father in heaven. His laws are perfect, just like him. But we prefer to hearken to that Christian pastor and stay swimming in wickedness and evilness. Imagine that. Imagine that. This is red writing. This is if you've got any books in class, just take this down. It's Matthew 5 and 48. Get me 1 John 2. 1 John 2 and 3. You know, the whole of this Bible teaches us to be perfect. And the way you achieve perfection is through these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the only way. There's no other way to be a perfect man, a perfect brother, or a perfect sister. There's no way to be a perfect parent or a perfect son or a perfect daughter than through these laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. That's the bottom line. That's what the whole of our records talk about. You know, there's many stories, but the message is how to reach perfection. And we reach that perfection through these laws, statutes, and commandments. There is no other way. There's no other way. You can't reach perfection in that Christian church because they don't believe in perfection in the Christian church. And if you can bear that in mind, you might be able to get yourself out of that brick building and down to 394 Lodge Road into the home of the truth, the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, just like the brothers that are here today are. Okay, we've got students in class, and these students have been coming for a minute. So when you guys have done your 90 days, you'll have your names. And then with the spirit of the Most High God, everything is forward and in front of you. Okay, and let's remember that. Let's remember that, because there's many fake Israelite groups. It's not just the Christian church. And if you're not in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana and you believe you're an Israelite, you could end up in one of these fake Israelite groups. And if you do, you might as well stay in the Christian church. It's no different. Do we all get this? Do we all understand this? Okay. The first book of John, chapter 2. Start verse 3, Baba Kashar.
Okay. The book of 1 John 2, verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments.
Okay, so you only know the Most High God if you keep the law. Read on.
Verse 4. He that saith, I know him, and keep not his commandment, is a liar.
There you go, self-explanatory. So if you're a liar, if you say you know the Most High and keep not his laws, guess what? Guess what?
You're a liar.
You're a goddamn liar. You don't know the Most High God if you're not keeping his laws, and you will never reach perfection, and you certainly won't achieve perfection in that Christian church. Read on.
And the truth is not in him.
So the Christian pastor's a liar. Strike one on the Christian pastor, strike two, strike three, all in one round. Okay, the Christian pastor's done, he's finished. Okay, this precept capitulates him. Do you understand? He's drowning in lies, that Christian pastor. Read that again, Baba Kishore.
From verse 4.
Salakia, Kana.
He that say, I know him, and keep not his commandment, is a liar, and the truth is not in him.
There you go. There you go. It's pretty damning for the pastors, this, don't you think? Because the pastor says the law's done away with. The pastor says Jesus Christ is God. The pastor says Mary bore a child without sex. None of these things are recorded. None of these things are recorded in the Holy Bible. So where does the pastor get it from? Has he just made it up? Has he fabricated it? Has he been given it from the oppressor? Wherever he got it from, it's not the truth. Okay? It's not the truth. It's a damn lie. And right here, if you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, you don't know the Most High God. So while you're sitting up in that church listening to the pastor telling you he represents the Most High God, you know he's a damn liar. You know there's not a bigger liar in your life than your Christian pastor. He's the biggest liar you're ever going to know. Okay, do we all get this? Okay, jump to Genesis, Baba Kishar. The book of Genesis. Give me chapter 6, verse 9, Baba Kishar. When you're ready, Moza, read that for me, Baba Kishar.
The book of Genesis 6, verse 9. Therefore, these are the generation of Noah.
Okay, so if we're going to demonstrate now that perfection does exist in the Bible, and plenty of these characters, plenty of our leaders and loyal servants of the Most High God, more than one was perfect. Okay, because I've heard some Christian pastors say, yeah, well, Christ was perfect, but nobody else was perfect, and nobody, while we strive to be like unto Christ, nobody can ever reach the heights that Christ did. Well, according to the Bible, none of us, first and foremost, none of us could ever be Christ. We can be like unto him, follow his ways, follow his path. Okay, believe in what he believed in and what he taught us. Okay, but it's the laws, ultimately, it's the laws, statutes, and commandments which will make you perfect. And your Christian pastor's not going to teach you that. He's going to teach you Christ was perfect. Nobody else has ever been perfect. Well, according to the Bible, Job was perfect. King David was perfect. And we're going to read another son of the Most High God, another one of our brothers, a man called Noah. He was perfect. Okay, let's find out. Noah 6 and 9. Genesis 6 and 9. Read that.
The book of Genesis 6, verse 9. These are the generation of Noah.
Okay, so these are the children of Noah. Okay, Noah built a vessel and saved his 7 family members from drowning. Okay, that's what Noah done. He was saved for a reason. Does anybody, before we read this, does anybody know why Noah was taken aside from the rest of these people that lived on earth and saved?
Because he was perfect.
Give that a hand. Officer Mozart said because Noah was perfect. Let's find out. Read that from the top, Baba Kishore.
The book of Genesis 6, verse 9. These are the generation of Noah.
Read.
Noah was a just man.
Noah was what?
A just man.
Read on.
And perfect in his generation.
And what?
And perfect in his generation.
Noah was perfect. Well, your Christian pastor says you cannot reach perfection. You cannot achieve perfection. Why was Noah? Why do we think Noah was perfect in the eyes of the Most High God?
Because he was keeping the law, statutes, and
Because he kept the law, whatever the most, and the judgments of the Most High God. Listen, the Most High God wiping out millions of people and drowning everybody apart from 8 people, Noah and his 7 family members, was a judgment. That was a judgment. Noah could have turned his back and said, I don't want nothing to do with this. I ain't killing the whole goddamn world. Noah was perfect because he kept the law, the covenant he had with God, and he kept the judgments. He didn't try to avoid it, swerve it, or go against the judgment of God. He went with it. He did as he was damn well told.
that's right.
And in this era of Noah, he was the only man that God knew that the Most High knew that Noah was the only man that would have kept this judgment, because Noah was perfect in the eyes of the Most High God. Do we all understand this? Read that again,
right.
Baba Kasha. Read that again, Baba Kasha.
The book of Genesis 6 verse 9. These are the generation of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation, and walked with God.
And how did he walk with God? By keeping the laws,
the law.
statutes, the laws and judgments. Okay, we know that wiping out the entire world was a judgment from God. Okay, Shem's son. Okay, Shem. Who was Shem?
Shem is Noah's son.
And we're talking about the generations of Noah. So Shem was Noah's firstborn son. Okay, and then Shem had a son called Arphaxad. Okay, and these were the generations of Noah. And these children of Noah had the same spirit that Noah had, the spirit of the Most High God, and they were perfect. They did what they were damn well told as well. Right down to Abraham. Abraham came from the lineage and the bloodline of Noah and Arphaxad. And by the time it got to Abraham, that spirit was in Abraham, the spirit of the Most High God. He was obedient, he hearkened to the Most High God, and he did as he was damn well told. Abraham had Isaac, Isaac had Jacob, Jacob had 12 sons who became the 12 tribes of Israel, and the rest is history. The rest is recorded. This is where our problems started with the 12 tribes, because this is where we started to become rebellious as we gained numbers, as we became more and plentiful. And I'm not saying there wasn't any problems before the 12 tribes, but the 12 tribes were the inheritors, the ones that inherited, took God's inheritance, which was the land, which was Israel, and everything that came along with it. It was a land of milk and honey. Okay, so Noah was perfect, okay, and his generations, okay. Let's jump. Let's jump to back to First John, Baba Kashar. Where was we? First John 2.
Verse 1 to verse 3.
Okay, give me 1 sec. Let me find my bearings. First John. Get me First John chapter 4, Baba Kashar. Let me start from verse 17, Baba Kashar.
The book of 1 John 4 verse 17. Herein our love made perfect.
Read that again, Baba Kashar.
Herein is our love made perfect.
Herein is our love made perfect. Read on.
But we may have boldness.
That we may have boldness. This is letting you know how love is made perfect. How is it made perfect? What is that boldness? Again, just to reiterate, by keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, you've got to be bold to say, I'm not going to church anymore, to wake up and say, I'm not going to that mosque. I'm done with Islam. I'm done with Christianity. I'm done with Selassie. Who the hell is this character? He wasn't even an Israelite. He was from the loins of Cush. He was a goddamn Hamite. Okay, read that again, Baba Kasha.
Verse John 4, verse 17. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment.
In the last days, yeah, because this is the last days. The day of judgment, when the time of this wicked kingdom is up, yeah, the time of this wicked kingdom is up. That's when we're gonna find out who is who, what is what. That boldness is gonna stand you in good stead. And if you wasn't bold enough to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, you're not gonna make it. If you stayed in that Christian church, you're finished. If you've stayed in a mosque, in one of these denominations, in one of these religions, your guts are on garters. You're finished. It's a done deal. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And that's why we know through these laws, statutes, and commandments that perfection is achievable. It's achievable. We got any questions in the StreamYard? What time we're on? It's nearly 9. Let's jump to Hebrews 8 and 6. We'll probably make this the last precept. Okay, so remember, perfection is achievable, but it's only achievable through obedience. And how are we obedient? By keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. There's no other way. You're not even taught perfection in the Christian church. It's never ever been taught. And this is a doctrine that comes from slavery. These are teachings that come from our oppression and from our oppressor. Okay, so you put your trust in that at your own peril. You put your trust in that at your own peril. Hebrews 8 and 6. Read that, Baba, for sure.
The book of Hebrews 8, verse 6. But now hath he obtained more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant.
Okay, again, the Christians love this. The Christians love this, don't they? The Christians love this precept. They try to say how do the Christians put this, Mozart? You've heard the Christian breakdown of this. They try to say, look, the old law of Moses was no good. The old law of Moses was no good. Okay, read on. Salakia, read that again, Baba Kushar.
Welcome. Verse 6. But no, he had obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant.
So they try and separate. They try and separate the law that Moses gave us, that we've always had, and say we're living under a new law now, and they call it the law of liberty. The law of liberty exists, but only because we're in a grace period. It's the same damn law. It's the same law. Look, it's the same law that Moses gave us. Think about it logically, yeah? And again, it's recorded. We've got these records for a reason. Why the hell would Christ spend his entire life perfecting a law, all 613 of them, that he wasn't teaching or pushing on his people? It makes no goddamn sense, but this is what they teach in the church. That this covenant, the law that Christ was under, was somehow different to the one that Moses taught us. But Christ says he kept the law in its entirety. He came to fulfill it.
That's right.
In Matthew, is it 7 and 14? Well, in the book of Matthew, Christ says that he came to fulfill the law and not destroy it, or the prophets. The last time I checked, Moses was a prophet and a loyal servant of the Most High God. Read that again, Baba Kishar. Let's finish up now.
Hebrews 8, verse 6. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promise.
And that is the key, which was established upon better promises. Again, taking away that fear factor of the judgments of sin and iniquity. Learning, Christ taught us to love the Lord, to embrace it, to wake up on Saturday and love the fact that we didn't have to serve any servile work. We could keep the Sabbath in all its glory through the Spirit of the Most High God, to love it, not see it as a chore, or, oh, I can't milk my cows today. What a goddamn pain in the arse. You know, I need milk. Your cows need a rest too. This is a blessing. The Sabbath is a blessing. It's a law, but it's a blessing. And we learn through Christ to love the law, not to hide or shy from it or fear it in any way. Do we all follow this? Read that one more time again, Barbara Kashan. We're done.
The book of Hebrews 8 verse 6. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of better covenant, which was established upon better promise.
Okay, so what your pastor somehow tries to convince you that this is a law brought by Christ that is different to the law of that we was given under the leadership of Moses. This is not what this is saying. Okay, what this actually says is the same law will be re-established upon better promises. Do we all understand this? And the better promises, so we wouldn't walk around worrying about a punishment that hasn't even occurred yet. You understand? You will still be punished. When Christ came for committing adultery, the sin was still death. So if the punishment never changed, how would the law changed? And how do we make sense out of that in the Christian church? Think about that, a little food for thought to finish off with. And with that, I'm going to call the class. Clap it up. I'm going to hand the class over to Officer Mozart for the security announcements. That's not it. It's a luck here. Let me grab that other one.
This is the ISUPK security announcement. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for brothers and sisters. When a brother or sister come into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes. This is a commandment. Numbers 18 verse 21. Malachi 3 verse 8 to 10. Means tithes in the Hebrew, Mahishara. 10% of every penny of every increase the Lord give you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming Holy Convocation.
The Wednesday, the 2nd of October, the memorial of blowing trumpets.
Announce Holy Convocation from sheet. Remind Achaman and Achawat to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headscarf, headband and scarf.
with that, we're going to give the teacher one courtesy
And
salute.
with that, we give the teacher one courtesy salute.
And if Israel, Mahdi.
Man of Israel,
Imagine Shabbat.
Imagine Shabbat,
Imagine
Imagine
Barak.
Barak, Yahweh Shem Yashai Baraktham.
Yehovah Hashem Yoshai Brakadam.
Yad Yom Matar.
Yazimata,
No, keep your hand to your chest. Yad Yom Matar means hands down. So-
Yazamata,
No, not Yaz. Yad Yom Matar.
Yadamata.
Then hands down. That's when hands down. Then the class dismissed.
Class dismissed.
Then you Also, yes, Yad Yom. Yeah, Yad. Yad means hand. And then Yom means down. Step for the class.
Good to see you, brother. You good?